almost 1,200 games behind the dish tonight. 1,184 consecutive games. That's an American League record.
Very impressive. Here is the pitch from Baker, and we're underway. A fly ball to right field. Chases Kadire to the track. Marco Scutaro is now 0 for his last 12.
I saw him down in the clubhouse today, and I said, Marco, keep swinging it. Just keep hitting hard. He said, oh, yeah, that's all I can do is just keep hitting it hard, and eventually they will fall. This ball is hit pretty nicely to right field, but Kadire runs it down for the first out.
Aaron Hill comes to the plate. Last night he saw the end of an 8-game hit streak to begin the year. Baker comes off an impressive season, 11-4 last year with a 3.45 ERA. With 453 innings under his belt, he is the most experienced Twins starter. My, how things have changed here. One ball and one strike.
They certainly have. And for a young player, we have seen his strikeout per 9 innings rise over the last 4 years. When he first came up, he didn't throw as hard. He didn't have as good as command with that breaking ball. But now, as he learns the league, he learns the hitters, his strikeouts per 9 innings keep going up.
Sharply hit to left field. Aaron Hill gets that hit streak back underway. It's now at 1. So base hit to the left side. And Hill is parked at first with Alex Rios coming up.
If you're going to throw a breaking ball, that looked like a spinning slider. Did not hit his spot. It did hit the bat. It stayed on that hitting plane a long time, didn't it? Aaron Hill knows exactly what to do with a pitch like that.
Hill heads back to first base on the throw over from Baker. And Alex Rios steps in, having a very good road trip through Cleveland and Minnesota. 7 for 21. He's hitting .286 on the year. Still looking for his first home run of the season. And as we know, the Blue Jays have hit a bunch of them so far. Baker's a little unsure of himself right now. He steps off and calls forth Mike Redmond.
Well, they are expecting big things from this 27-year-old. You talked about his season last year, 2008, 11-4, a very good ERA. That was a career high in starts with 28. And the thing that was impressive with Baker last year, if you watched him the last 6 weeks of the season, he really finished strong. In his last 6 starts, 4-0 with a very good ERA, just over 2 to get the Twins to that 1-game playoff shot to get into the playoff.
And he recently signed a brand new contract with the Twins, 4 years in length, just over $15 million. And the contract might have come into play on opening day because he wanted to pitch despite the pain in his right shoulder. But the organization said no as Rios looks at that pitch right across the heart of the plate for strike 1.
A big investment.
It's a big investment indeed. And they need to protect their investment. So here is his first start. And it's a 1-1 count on Rios. The pitch, he gets jammed, grounds to Punto. There's 1, there's 2, double play, and that's the inning. throws his warm-up pitches in anticipation of Minnesota's starting nine, and here's a
seventh career start for Scott Richmond, and his second in 2009. In his season debut on Friday in Cleveland, Scott was only able to get 4 innings in while giving up 3 runs. He has never faced the Twins. There's his numbers.
2 balls, no strikes on the leadoff man Span. And your assessment of Richmond's effort against the Indians in 4 innings on opening day was that there was good action on his pitches, but he couldn't throw strikes consistently.
You know, almost to a man. Talking with Brad Arnsberg, the pitching coach, yesterday, he said his pitchers, and we don't like to make excuses, just could not get a good grip on the ball. You're right. The action on Scott Richmond's stuff in Cleveland was outstanding.
Popped up and caught by Richmond. How about that? He gets off the mound quickly and makes the out. Little pat on the shoulder from Rod Barajas. Excuse me, Michael Barrett.
You know, Span looked like he was going to bunt no matter what, no matter the count or anything. He wanted to try and get this ball by Scott Richmond. He's trying to get the second baseman Aaron Hill to field the ball, but he pops it up in the air, and those long arms come in handy for Scott Richmond there as he plucks it off the turf for the first out.
So switch hitter Alexei Casilla stands in now. And there's a strike. Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, also calling the balls and strikes tonight.
The first 2 batters in this lineup will bunt the ball. And you can see Scott Rowland can almost walk in and shake hands with the batter, Alexei Casilla. For that matter, after they turn the lineup around, Carlos Gomez, the number 9 hitter, is a great bunter. So they'll have 3 in a row where the corners really come in. They like to slap the ball, get it down on the ground. They've got tons of speed here in Minnesota.
Here's a chopper diving, and it deflects off Hill's glove. So a base hit for Casilla. Boy, a wonderful effort by Hill, but he couldn't get the ball inside the glove.
It looks like he overran it. Watch as he dives for it, and it actually hits him on his thumb. So he misses that one. We'll go for the first base hit. Snyder, Wells, and Rios in the outfield tonight. You mentioned Michael Barrett getting the start, with Rod Barajas catching Roy Halladay tomorrow.
Justin Morneau now facing his teammate from the World Baseball Classic. I'm thinking perhaps a player or two asked Justin for a scouting report, and Justin's response would be, I have no idea what he throws because he didn't pitch for us.
Saw him throwing in the pen. He looked like he had pretty good stuff.
That catches the outside part of the plate, and Justin falls behind 0-1.
You know, that doesn't matter with this guy. He'll fall behind 0-2, and we've seen it a couple times already in this series against left-handers. B.J. Ryan on the first day, and then in the 11th inning last night, an 0-2 pitch from Jesse Carlson that he ripped for a base hit.
Casilla getting back in time, sliding under the overbay tag. So we've got a BC native on the mound, Vancouver's Scott Richmond, and a BC native at the plate in New Westminster's Justin Morneau. Oh, and 1. And another throw over.
He's leaning. Casilla, he really is. He's leaning out on that front foot. He's got a very aggressive lead over at first base. 1 foot on the carpet. And as Scott Richmond comes set in the stretch, he's really starting to lean on that front foot towards second base.
Throw back to first by Barrett, and Casilla dives back. How would you assess Richmond's pitch from the stretch? because we well remember last year knowing that catchers had a disadvantage with someone like A.J. Burnett on the mound because of the high kick. Seems pretty quick.
Well, yeah, he really utilizes that slide step. When he's pitching out of the windup, the full windup, he's got a much higher leg kick and drive towards home. From the stretch, he just slide steps. It makes it tough on the runner to try and get a good jump.
1-2. Casilla very aggressively leading over at first. Ripped to the corner by Morneau. 2 strikes doesn't bother him. Rios picks it up quickly and brings it in. Casilla's held at third, so Justin Morneau's at it again.
He has had 3 straight multi-hit games, going 7 for 14 over that span, and he starts off nicely here. Elevated pitch from Richmond, right in the wheelhouse. Thank goodness he didn't get underneath that one and lofted, or it would have been gone. It's into the corner and off the wall, and it hits that baggy and just kind of dies there. For a second, it looked like Casilla, with his speed, was going to be able to come all the way from first. It's got over. The third base coach plays it safe, stops him, and the Twins have something going.
Jason Kubel now as the ball squirts away from Barrett. And based on numbers last year, we know this much. Scott Richmond has always had trouble with left-handed batters. They hit .426 against him a year ago.
Yeah, very good against right-handers. I believe they hit under 200.
Catches the strike zone, 1-1 on Kubel, the DH.
So if you know that, that's in your scouting report, and you know that, you have a base open and a right-hander on deck. I don't care that it's the first inning. You know, you don't want to give up any runs. So if you have to pitch around this guy, that's not a bad thing.
Just the wave and a miss there. A ball and 2 strikes. But as we know from Morneau, he wasn't deterred by a 1-2 count. Kubel will deal with that now. Kubel was the DH on Monday, and he hit a solo home run off Jesse Litch in the 2nd inning. Richmond now on the 1-2 pitch, and it's grounded to first, taken by Overbay. Richmond covers, Casilla's in, and the Twins lead 1-0.
Blue Jays concede the run by playing their infield back in the first inning, which is the right thing to do, and that just saved a run. Ball hit hard by Kubel, was smothered by Overbay. They gave up the run, but the batter at second base moves up also. You can see if he was playing in, that ball was hit hard enough that it would have gotten by him.
Here's the right-hander Kadire. And it's strike 1 from Richmond. Scott wasn't getting ahead of hitters in Cleveland like he is doing early on in this game.
Watching him last year in the 5 starts that he had, I thought he had excellent control. We saw his strikeout to walk ratio, which was outstanding, 20 strikeouts to just 2 base on balls last year. So he didn't throw a whole lot of pitches per inning, so he got ahead, and that ball is in the dirt.
Oh, and that's trouble. Morneau slides in. It's 2-0 for the Twins. You like to see good action on pitches, but in this case, it's come back to haunt the Jays.
Yeah, Scott's bounced a couple of them up there. Some heads-up base running by Morneau. He notices that he has thrown a couple in the dirt. This one doesn't get that far from home plate, but if you react quickly and you read it right off the bat, you can score like that.
Morneau cashes then on a wild pitch. 2 are in for the Twins here in the first. Little flare that is in foul territory, out of the reach of Overbay. So opportunity knocks for the Twins here as Casilla gets on base after the ball evades a diving Aaron Hill, and he later comes around to score. And now Morneau is able to cash on a wild pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Kadire. Here comes the pitch from Richmond. It's hit in the air to center field. Back goes Vernon Wells. Out goes Kadire, and that's the end of the first inning. But 2 hits, 2 runs for the Twins, and they have the early lead on the Blue Jays. By Rogers high-speed internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. Morneau has 21 RBIs against the Jays. Only Stairs and Koski have more among Canadian-born players. He's got a ways to go to get Matt Stairs, but he's inching up on Koski, the Anola, Manitoba native, who still lives in this area. Blue Jays come to bat in the second inning. Vernon Wells leads off against Scott Baker, who gets strike 1. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler. They wrap it up tomorrow night, and what a matchup. Roy Halladay takes on Francisco Liriano. So they really did save the best for last in this 4-game series.
The games have been good so far.
They've been excellent.
They really have. We've seen some good pitching. We have seen some timely hitting, some good defense. Kevin Millar and last night's ball game at first base.
The 0-2 pitch off the end of the bat into center field for Gomez, and Wells is gone. I asked Millar about that catch this afternoon. I said, great diving stab last night. He said, great belly flop is what it was.
He also had the presence of mind to get up and try and double the guy off at second base.
Adam Lind, the designated hitter, stands in against Scott Baker. Lind hitting .375 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs.
That one start that Scott Baker had as a rehab start down in Fort Myers last week, threw 85 pitches in that start. He threw 70 of them in the game, and when the game was over, he went down and threw 15 more in the bullpen just to get up to 85 in anticipation of going right around 100 pitches here tonight. Had the shoulder soreness. Says it would hurt him when he'll be warming up, and then in between, you know, when his team is hitting, he'd go and sit down, and then he'd come back out for the next inning and start to throw again, and the soreness would come back. This was in spring training. Spent some time on the DL, got some work on it, says all that soreness is gone now.
Three and one to Lynn. Now 3-2. That ball's out of play. We now know that on Monday night, Jesse Litch first experienced soreness in the first inning, but he let it go for a couple of innings before saying anything. And he was asked yesterday repeatedly as to whether or not he thought it might be wise to ante up the moment he felt something. And his opinion is very commonplace among athletes. I figured I could fight through it.
Right.
Payoff pitch to Lynn.
And as a young player, you know, you feel something in your arm. Now, Jesse's never been hurt, he said. His arm has never given him a problem. He has never spent any time on the disabled list. So young players, when they have that, they don't want to like start crying wolf right away. They want to be big leaguers. They want to earn their money. They want to earn their keep. But it got to a point where it was just too much for him.
Ball 4 to Lynn. He draws a walk. And as Jesse rightly pointed out, it's his livelihood. That arm is his moneymaker.
Now, if it happens again, I think he's learned his lesson.
Yes.
He's going to go right away and tell the Jays and say something's doesn't feel right because it's not fair to him and it's not fair to the ball club.
Well, here's the third baseman rolling as he steps in to face Baker. One man out, one man at first. That's Lynn. Baker from the stretch gets strike one. And we've talked in the early part of the season about the performance of Adam Lind and the prodigious power of Travis Snyder and Aaron Hill in his hitting streak. Very quietly, Scott Rowland has pieced together a very good start to this year, hitting the ball consistently as he fouls that one out of play.
How about leading the team in on-base percentage? For a third baseman. We had a quick chat today with Del Unser, who does some scouting now and had Scott Rowland when he was a Philadelphia Philly. Said he's always had that short swing.
Yes, short and compact.
But last year he just couldn't get the bat head out. He was missing it by about that much. He wasn't getting the head out. And he has made the adjustment of bringing his hands down a little bit closer to his body. And now that short stroke is getting the bat head out in front, and he's hitting it hard. In this series, he has hit about 3 bullets right back through the middle. Solid base hits.
0-2, and he rips the ball to left field. Well stroked, and it's gone. Home run, Scott Rowland. Nobody gets around the bases quicker on a home run trot.
And he got through the zone right here. In baseball terms, we call that quick snatching. He tries to run that fastball in on him, and he snatches it. With a quick bat, just drops the head on it, and on a line gets it out of here to tie it up. Boy, right when we were talking about how short his swing is and how he's starting to hit the ball out front a little bit more than last year, Scott obliges and hits one out for us.
So it's 2-2 as Overbay rolls it to second. Casilla throws to Morneau. So Overbay is retired 4-3, and Michael Barrett comes to the plate for the first time this evening. Barrett plays the role this year of Greg Zahn after beating out Raul Chavez for the backup job in spring training. He was incredibly relieved to know that he had made the opening day roster after Cito Gaston tapped him on the shoulder. Even after all those years of being a #1 catcher, must feel good to make a big league team as he flies to right field. Kadire on the run, and it's up and over the wall in foul territory.
Those numbers that were just flashed up there for daggone good numbers for a catcher. Just about 100 career home runs. He's been in the big leagues 10 years. There they are, 423 RBIs. He's caught over 1,000 games. It is so nice to have a veteran, isn't it? Especially when you have such a young staff.
Swings and misses, so he's gone on strikes. But the Blue Jays entered the second down 2 runs. Scott Rowland got them back with a line shot into the seats in left field. So after 1.5 innings here in Minnesota, it's the Blue Jays 2 and the Twins 2.
Starter for the Toronto Blue Jays, Scott Richmond, and the scouting report, it's really got a fluid delivery. It's repeatable. He is consistent. He'll throw a lot of strikes. He won't overpower hitters. Only 4 strikeouts this year. And I think for Scott to be successful, he really needs to mix it up. Can't show any patterns. He's got to throw his breaking ball for strikes and keep the ball right there like he did against Creedy, down and away to right-handers.
No balls and 2 strikes now on Joe Creedy. As we get the bottom of the second underway, here's Richmond with a breaking ball bouncing in front of Barrett. 1-2. Wave and a miss, and Creedy goes quickly. Strikeout number 1 for Scott Richmond. Boy, he's got great action on his pitches, Pat.
You know, one of the things that Brand Arnsberg has wanted to do with Scott Richmond is lower his hands a little bit while he's in the stretch. You see him on the left. That was last year. You can see as he starts into his windup, he keeps his hands up there. This year, he's bringing it down just a little bit more. How it was explained to me, what that does is the arm and the leg kind of works together. Where you come down, you can see how low he is there, and as he brings his arms up, brings the glove up, the leg comes with it out of the windup. And what does that do? That keeps him over the rubber just a little bit longer, keeps him a little bit more compact, and should help him stay in the strike zone.
He's cocking a gun almost.
Right. Last year you saw on that split screen on the left how his hands stayed up. Now his hands are going down and up along with his leg, keeping him in balance and keeping him together. If you aren't together like that, if you aren't in balance, then the legs start to go before the arm can catch up.
Here's a fly ball down the right field line. Rios right at the mound, and it's off the rail and out of play. It's interesting when Brad Arnsberg points those kind of things out, because with someone like Scott Richmond, who has spent so much time in independent baseball, there would be a lot of aspects of pitching that he may not have been taught along the way. For example, last year in AAA, he learned a changeup for the first time.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
It is hard to believe.
When he was telling us that, for a guy who's been around, that you would think somewhere he would learn the changeup somehow.
2-2, and Redmond barely gets a piece. This is Mike Redmond, we should add. Everybody's wearing 42 tonight in honor of Jackie Robinson. So just to identify the man at the plate.
So something as simple as your arm and your front leg, your lead leg, work together while you're out of the windup. Something as simple as that can make your whole mechanics of pitching stay together and help you stay in the strike zone.
A Blue Jay draft pick who's in the system and goes through the minor league system might learn things like that right in their first year of pro ball, but this man was late to getting to pro ball, and there's nothing wrong with him right now here in the second inning. Strikeouts of Creedy and now Redmond on a good breaking pitch, and there are 2 down in the second inning.
You know, out of the windup, watch his glove, how it goes down to his belt now. When he picks it up, the leg comes up, he's together, and that's a perfect curveball on the outside part of the plate to a right-handed batter. Right over the top. Boy, if you can stay there consistently, you're going to be just fine.
Here's Nick Punto, the shortstop, batting 8th for the Minnesota Twins. Scott Richmond is just the 3rd Canadian to pitch in the rotation for the Blue Jays. The last one, Paul Quantrill, our good friend, back in 1996. Prior to that, Denny Boucher. 3 Canadians, 2 right-handers.
1991?
1991, yes.
Yep.
Boucher was a lefty.
Yeah, remember it like it was yesterday.
You were on that club. Here's the 2-1. Smoked foul by Punto. Long after Punto and the Italians had beaten Team Canada and eliminated them from the WBC, a lot of people were asking why Ernie Witt didn't decide to pitch Scott Richmond in that game. That question will be pondered, I'm sure, for 4 years until we get another look at the World Baseball Classic. Hopefully at that time we won't be resting all the pressure on this man's shoulders. Guys like Rich Harden and Ryan Dempster and Eric Bedard will be ready to go then. Ripped to right field and foul. So that was our Fast Fact, brought to you by Rogers High Speed Internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. They've had other pitchers who are Canadian play for the Blue Jays. I think of Steve Sinclair and Vince Horsman, but just 3 in the rotation. 2-2 on Punto. 2 gone, second inning. 2-2 score. Breaking ball hit on the ground, gobbled up by Scudero. Punto's gone. A 1-2-3 inning for Richmond. 2 in the books, 2 on the board. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. On Sportsnet, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.tv. It's the ultimate baseball experience. 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. You can get information at BlueJays.com, where baseball is always on. A lot of people on my recent blog on Sportsnet.ca were asking about the MLB.tv package. Many of them have it. Certainly a good thing to have if you want to follow the Blue Jays and you're spending a lot of time south of the border on business or holidays, visiting relatives. Here's Travis Snider. And weren't the chat rooms busy last night wondering why Snider never got into a close game. One the Blue Jays eventually lost in 11 innings, but he's here tonight starting in left field and leading off the third inning against Scott Baker. What a night for Snider on Monday, the youngest Blue Jay ever to hit 2 home runs in a game. He knocked one out in the 5th against Kevin Slowey, and then a 2-run shot against Luis Ayala in the 8th helped secure victory. Takes a big cut there, goes down on strikes. 1 down.
Well, there's a change from what we saw the other night. A fastball up with 2 strikes. No messing around with breaking balls or something on the inner half. Let's see if the youngster can get upstairs and get on top of that ball. He didn't that time. A pitcher's park, would you?
No, not at all.
I know it's given up the fewest home runs in the American League, which was a surprise when I looked into those numbers, but it plays fast, it's big. Anything on the ground has a chance to go up the middle because it is so fast. You got short right field, you can hit off that wall in right field, a baggie if you will, and get extra bases. But he was sensational at home. 5-1, averaged 6 in the 3rd inning, so he pitched into the 7th inning every time he took the mound here last year.
327 down the right field line, 343 down the left side, but it just feels like the ball carries easier here at the Metrodome.
Well, especially since they've taken some of the plexiglass off of left field. A few years ago it was 2-3 times higher than what it is now. You just get it into the stands now. Before, remember Kirby Puckett when he played here?
Yeah, in the World Series in '91.
Robbed extra bases off that plexiglass.
Ball 4 to Marco Scutaro, and with that, Marco has now reached base safely in all 10 games he's played this year, 13 dating back to last season.
That's why Cito has him hitting at the top of the lineup. An on-base percentage over 400, second to the team to Scott Rowland.
So with 1 gone and 1 on, Aaron Hill steps in again. He singled to left field in the 1st inning. It's a 2-2 game. And he's going after it on the first pitch. For those who have just tuned in, Minnesota scored first in the bottom of the 1st as Casilla bounced the ball off Hill's glove and got onto first base safely. He moved to 3rd on Morneau's double, scored on a ground ball by Kubel, and then Morneau came home on a wild pitch to make it 2-0. The 0-1 hit high in the air to left field. Denard Span is right at the wall. He's running out of room, and you can kiss that one goodbye. Aaron Hill has gone deep, and it's 4-2 for the Blue Jays.
What were we just talking about? The plexiglass that used to be in left field
would have kept that in.
It would have been probably a double for Aaron Hill. Now you just have to get it over the wall and over the glove and get it in that first row, and it's a home run. Another high fastball. This is a lot like his home run he hit back at the Rogers Center. A high fastball. That was a towering high fly ball that just kept traveling to left field. Span just ran out of real estate.
What were we talking about in Cleveland? How at times walks absolutely killed the Blue Jays. Well, Scott Baker in this game has walked 2 batters directly ahead of home runs. What a difference that makes. It's 4-2 as Alex Rios knocks it foul.
Let's get him in the stretch. We got to get him in the stretch
That
a little
seems
bit
to be
more.
the key.
Yeah.
So give Aaron his 3rd home run of the year. And now he's in double digits in RBIs with 10. 2 strikes on Rios, and he grounds to third. Picked up by Creedy, and Rios is gone. Yeah, I think Aaron has to lift more weights because his home runs are just barely getting over the wall.
Paint scrapers. Scrape the paint off the back wall. That's all right. It's not how far you hit it, just so it reaches the seats in fair territory, right?
They all count for the same amount of runs, depending, of course, of who's on base.
I was a little surprised that Scott Baker went right back to another high fastball.
And here's Wells tagging this ball to left field, and that one's gone too. Wow. That thing left in a hurry.
No paint scraper there. That was a hanging breaking ball that sped the bat up of Vernon Wells. Look at that. That one just kind of spin up there. Mike Redmond, the catcher, wanted that one down and away. And Vernon, who's very adept at hitting that high breaking ball, rips it for another home run.
Bit of a trend developing here. The home run hit by Rolen was on 0-2. And the home runs by Hill and Wells both on 0-1 counts. Baker does himself a favor and throws ball 1 to Adam Lind. And now Lind hits it high and deep to center field. Gomez at the wall at the track, and he's got it. Ooh, we almost saw a third in this inning, but we did see 2 of them. 1 a 2-run shot by Hill and a solo effort by Vernon Wells. And thanks to the long ball, the Blue Jays lead this game 5-2. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. And they're hitting a ton of home runs now as well. Down the line and right to Overbay, and Gomez was out of the base path, and Overbay is able to get the tag down and get him out.
Gomez had 30 bunt hits last year, the most in the major leagues, a Twins record. 30 bunt hits, and he's going to try and push this one, but he gets it too close to the line. All Lyle has to do is just pick it up and tag him, which he does for the first out. If he could get that where Overbay has to move to his right, catch it and come back, I think he gets it easily. That time goes right down the line, and an easy play for Overbay at first.
Denard Span steps in against Scott Richmond. Now, during the commercial, you and I were marveling at the improved offense. I know it's just 10 games in. As Span hits it towards center field, it gets down. And Wells brings it in quickly to keep Span at first with a single. And I turned to you, Pat, and I said, Pat, these are the same players that were with the Blue Jays early last year. So what's changed?
Well, the hitting coach, number one, the manager. We've seen Dwayne Murphy come up here, who had some of these young kids in the minor leagues, the Adam Linds and Travis Snyder, some of the other guys that he worked with. Big league guys who have a lot of success of what they do are now passing that on to these hitters, and it's been fun to watch. You had a chance to talk to him when we first came in here. Guy knows a little something about hitting right there.
Nice delay there from Richmond, and he tosses over to try and keep Span near the bag. Span just doesn't take a lead. He actually leans where he stands. And now Richmond steps off as Michael Barrett calls time. Something has been thrown out onto the field in right. It's like a beach ball or something like that. It was that kind of day in Minneapolis. Absolutely beautiful. I went for a walk to the brand new Target field to take a look.
You're impressed?
Very impressive. It's close to being complete. So if we were playing outdoor baseball today, it would have been a spectacular night. Here's Casilla with a man on, and the pitch outside, catching the zone, strike one. Casilla in the first inning hit a ball hard toward Aaron Hill, who dove to his left and just couldn't get leather on the baseball. Came around to score a little later and gave the Twins an early 2-0 lead. Haven't the Blue Jays answered with 3 home runs? Richmond stands up straight on the 1-1. And here's the pitch. Outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. It's interesting watching these pitchers like Richmond and like Ricky Romero last night. These are all brand new ballparks to them, playing in them for the first time.
That could kind of psych you out a little bit, can it, for a young player?
Well, you would know that. You played in the big leagues. I certainly didn't.
I know this ballpark could psych you out. You know, you feel like the fans are right on top of it. It's a good crowd here tonight. One thing that's psyching Scott out right now, it seems like he's really worried about that runner over there at first base, and he's not finishing his pitches, not reaching out there and pulling it into the strike zone.
Ripped and foul over the head of Mark Wegner, the umpire at first base.
So that's why he was a little bit off the plate in those 3 balls that he has thrown to Casilla. You know, you gave up a hit to Span, all right, no problem. Get this guy right here. Make a good pitch. Chances are they're going to send that runner to stay out of the double play. Your concentration is right here on this guy. because I don't want you to walk them and lose them, and then you face the tying run on their best player.
It's a full count to Casilla, and the runner goes. No challenge from Barrett on ball 4. How many times in this series have we seen Justin Morneau come up to the plate with men on? Quite a few.
Too many.
Yeah.
Started the year 0 for 8. Did Morneau. But he is red hot since those first 2 games.
Skies it and foul.
Hitting over 400. And 8 RBIs over his last 7. An RBI chance here.
He doubled in the first inning on a 1-2 pitch, hammering the ball to right field, and came around to score the second run for Minnesota. Morneau with a pair of home runs on the season, 8 driven in. First and second for the Twins, 1 down. Barrett leaning in, and there is the pitch, grounded to second, but gloved by Overbay. They get the force at second. So Morneau's on with the fielder's choice. Casilla is erased, 3-6. And Jason Kubel gets to bat with 2 on.
You see Lyle Overbay looking in to see if he should hold on the runner. Just got on top of this one. If the first baseman can get that ball, he should get it because his momentum is going to second base. You see Aaron Hill right behind him, ready to back him up, but that's Overbay's play all the way.
Kubel on the ground to Hill. Easy play to first, and Scott Richmond wiggles out of a little jam here in the third. 3 innings are in the books as you watch the Jays on Sportsnet. In the game for a chance to win a 52-inch Sharp Aquas LCD TV. Here's how you do it. Go to sportsnet.ca/baseball game and launch it right now. A 52-inch LCD TV. You and I are ineligible.
Oh, we are?
Yes, we're employees. We can't win that kind of thing. Besides, we don't have a computer up here. Well, Scott Carson does, but he's busy and has no time for us. We're certainly glad you've joined us tonight from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. As the ball is out of play, I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler, wishing a happy 75th birthday tonight to Bob Stevens, who's watching in Wayne Gretzky's hometown, Brantford, Ontario. In the fourth, Roland, Overbay, and Barrett are due as the beach ball comes back onto the field of play yet again.
Come on.
Take a lighter to it.
Take a rake to it. Don't throw it back in the stands.
That's right. 0-1 on Roland. And he takes a big hack. Roland hit his second home run of the year in the second.
You know what's been impressive about Scott early in this season is obviously his production, but his at-bats. He's had good at-bats where he has battled the pitcher. He has hit the ball hard. He has made the pitcher work. You know, he has just strung together some good at-bats.
And remember, it was 6 or 7 months ago. He took you and I aside and said, I'm not sure. At least there was a point recently where I wasn't sure I could get around on a big league fastball. And that's changed. He showed that early in this game. That one just misses 1 and 2.
I remember talking to him in Chicago back in September. And we were sitting on the bench and he was telling me about his stance that he is going to start working with, and he is convinced it is going to make him a better hitter. I mean, he was like a little kid.
He gets jammed and pops it up to second.
He was so excited about that. Well, you can see that he has put in the time and the work from his stats that he has put together here the first couple of weeks of the season.
Here's number 42, Lyle Overbay. I was surprised to learn that only 2 Blue Jays have worn 42, and I speak specifically of players. There have actually been 3 coaches: Galen Cisco, Jackie Moore, and Billy Smith. But Scott Carson, who knows every number of every Blue Jay ever, tells me that 2 Blue Jay players, both pitchers, have worn 42. And if you can get this at home without looking it up on the internet, you know your Blue Jays baseball, because I couldn't get it.
We have to be able to have people text us or email us or something, because
we don't have the technology.
I would like to know.
Call Scott's cell phone.
Yeah. Give out his email address right now on the air. They can flood his computer up here. 42. I remember Galen Cisco.
Okay.
And I remember Billy Smith.
I bet you don't get one of them.
Do you have an era? Was it the 70s?
No.
No.
The most recent was 1989, as Baker goes into the windup on the 1-2 pitch and tries to run it inside. Overbay didn't go around, so he's going to stay at the plate, 2-2. So 2 years before you arrived, a pitcher wore 42.
But I would have faced him.
Yes, you would have.
So I should know this. Was he the lefty?
No hints.
All right,
2-2 pitch. Hit well to center field, dropping quickly, but Gomez has speed, and he puts away Overbay. Do you give up?
Mark Lemongello. No. Remember that? Now that's an inside joke. You know?
Xavier Hernandez.
Okay.
Do you
Splitter
remember him?
man? Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now the other guy had a little more tenure. Paul Mirabella.
Okay.
In 1980 and 81. So thank you to Scott Carson, the numbers man. Michael Barrett, who normally wears John Gibbons' old number 5.
No, I thought you would say Rance Molyneux.
Well,
that's your guy.
Most recently.
Huh?
Yeah, we'll see Razor
Molly?
on Friday when Oakland's in town. And Barrett hits it well in the air to right field. Here's Kadire going back. He turns and watches it go. Michael Barrett's done it too. His first home run with the Blue Jays. They've hit 4 of them tonight.
Doesn't that feel good right there? You get a start to catch Scott Richmond, and you feel like you're contributing to the ball club with a home run. Michael gets on top of this high fastball. And power opposite. Kadire thinks he has a shot at it, but keeps carrying. Lands in about the second or third row of those football seats that are all tucked up under the scoreboard there in right field.
Did you notice the count? It was 0-1.
0-1.
So the home runs tonight from Rowland, Hill, Wells, and Barrett have come on 0-2s and 3 consecutive 0-1 counts. Here's 1-0 to Travis Snyder. And I've got news for you. This kid could hit it out too.
Yeah. Well, if
we've learned that about him.
If he swings the way he did 2 nights ago, boy, the ball just jumped off of his bat and he hit it up in the upper deck.
Already action in the bullpen for the Twins. As number 42 is up and throwing.
Is that Phil Humber?
I think it's Phil Humber. That looks like Phil Humber. You're chuckling because everybody else. Hey, if we were doing play-by-play of a game in 1910, there wouldn't be any numbers. So at least we have numbers. All right. There's Snyder. Fouls it back.
A number that Ron Gardenhire is thinking about. We saw him in the dugout is 4 right now. 4 home runs given up by his starter. Gardy was saying before the game he's one of our veteran guys. It's nice to get Scott Baker back. He feels great, and that's an important thing to this team. Okay, high fastball. This is where you got to really make yourself look for the ball down. Struck out on a high fastball his first time up.
High fastball, and it's strike 3. Down goes Snyder. He struck out twice. The Blue Jays have hit now 4 home runs. The latest comes from the catcher, Michael Barrett, to the opposite field. It's 6-2 Toronto. Back to the Metrodome in Minneapolis. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler. In the bottom of the 4th inning, here are the Twins coming to the plate. Michael Kadire, Joe Creedy, and Michael Redmond will face Scott Richmond. Kadire's 0 for 1, and Richmond's pitch is outside 2-0. Richmond with just a single big league victory, and that came last September 26th in Baltimore. A rain shortened 3-0 victory. He went 6 innings and gave up 4 hits and got credited with a complete game. 2-1, and this on the ground for Scudero. 1 away. Well, last night in the bottom of the 11th inning, Joe Crede did it for the Minnesota Twins on a deep fly ball to center field. He has 12 walk-off hits since the start of the 2002 season. Only David Ortiz of the Red Sox has more. Big Papi has 15 in that time frame.
I've always liked Joe Crede as a player.
Me too.
You know, he might not be, you know, the big guy that everybody talks about, the big star, but he certainly can help this ball club here in Minnesota. We touched on that last night, how they have had a revolving door at third base since Corey Koski left in 2004. Which wasn't that long ago. 19 third basemen.
And he was pushed out of the White Sox by the emergence of a young third baseman, Josh Fields. We'll see in a short time. The Blue Jays will be on the road in Chicago very soon. 1-1, and that's up high for a 2-ball, 1-strike count. There's that good breaking ball. And boy, he got Crede on that one in the second, and then struck out Mike Redmond right behind him too.
And look how he gets the ball and works very quickly. Right now he's very confident.
Crede reaches for another curve, and Roland fires to first. This is a much more confident Scott Richmond than we saw on Friday in Cleveland.
Well,
and maybe
we're indoors.
Yeah, we're indoors, and Travis Hafner's not playing either.
Right. I was reading online today how Scott Richmond spent some time at Oklahoma State, as did Scott Baker.
Both starters?
Both starters, a couple of years apart. And how Scott Richmond studied video of Baker over the winter time. We talked about how good Baker was last year. Studied video this offseason to help him develop that 4-pitch arsenal that he has. And so far, so good.
That one cued into the Blue Jays dugout, and so Redmond will have to shorten up a little bit on 1 and 2.
Well, right now Scott Richmond is locked in. You see him get that ball. He doesn't stray too far from that mound. He's got that breaking ball working on the outside part of the plate.
.65 pitches, reasonable for the 4th inning. Here's the latest on the 1-2, and it's down for a 2-2 count. The delivery from Richmond, and a ground ball again. What an easy inning. 3 ground balls. And the 4th is now complete. A 6-2 lead for the Jays here in Minneapolis. Rogers Center, the Blue Jays team up with a Make-A-Wish Foundation. $5 from every ticket sold in the Make-A-Wish section is donated back to the Make-A-Wish Toronto and Central Ontario organizations. So please come on out and help a good cause. You can get your tickets by logging on to BlueJays.com or call this number 416-341-1565 for more information on how you can help the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And every baseball team wants to get to the starter early, get into the bullpen quickly, and the Blue Jays have done that tonight, chasing Scott Baker after 4. So number 42 comes on. Philip Humber will pitch for the Twins.
Yeah, Ron Gardenhire can only get 4 innings out of his starter tonight, Scott Baker, so he turned to his bullpen. And one of the guys that he's going to use is the long man, Phil Humber. He was one of the players that came over along with Carlos Gomez, the center fielder, in the Johan Santana trade. Pitched for the most part in the minor leagues last year, was recalled in September. Won a spot in this bullpen with a good spring.
He's a big man too, 6'4", 210 pounds, taken 3rd overall in the 2004 draft out of Rice University. And he faces Marco Scutaro, who walked and scored in the 3rd inning. Baker only walked 2 in his 4 innings of work, but both men came in after home runs. A walk to Lind in the 2nd, and then Rowland hit it out, and then Scutaro drew a walk in the 3rd, and Aaron Hill followed with a 2-run home run. So the Blue Jays have a 6-2 lead on the Twins as we begin the 5th inning of play.
Humber has that big windup. He was a starter in college, starter in the minor leagues. He has battled some arm problems.
Here's the ball hit to right field, and Kadire settles under it for out number 1. We wrap up this series tomorrow night. Please join us at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time for Jays Connected. And then the first pitch slightly after 8 Eastern. Roy Halladay, who is 2-0 on the year, takes on left-hander Francisco Liriano. Strike 1 to Aaron Hill. Sharply hit by Hill into center field. Takes a 1 bounce in front of Gomez, and Aaron has his 3rd hit of the night. 3 for 3, 2 singles and a home run. So after the 0 for last night, he's back to being locked in.
3 hits in the first game in this series. Watch how short he is to the ball. He's going to try and throw a fastball by him, but he is short. Good sharp swing. Watch the head of the bat go right to the ball. And Gomez, the center fielder, plays so deep here. It's one of the things that I have noticed, how deep he plays with his great speed. You would think with a guy with that kind of speed would play a little bit more shallow and challenge those hitters to try and hit it over his head. He would take away balls just like the one we saw, away from the opposition.
Boy, Rios takes a big cut there on the first pitch from Humber, and then falls behind. No balls, 1 strike. Alex is still looking for his first home run of this season. 6 runs driven in, though. He's got a triple and 3 doubles. Outside for ball 1.
Good to see the Blue Jays get right back on the horse and start pounding that ball. Yesterday's ball game. And as Humber throws that one right by Rios. Perkins got himself into a little comfort zone, didn't he? Last night's starter for Minnesota retired 15 of 17 before Alex's double in the 8th inning. They had their chances against Perkins. Good to see them get tonight's starter early and often.
Last night was one of those games where it was almost a shame that neither of the starters could factor in the decision, because both Perkins and Romero, 8 innings of 2-run baseball, were both very good. And here is a gapper for Rios, but coming over and making the catch is Michael Kadire.
That ball just hung up too long for Rios. When it left the bat, it looked like it had double written all over it. But it's going to be slicing back towards the right fielder, and Kadire got an excellent jump on that ball. He has turned out to be a pretty good outfielder. Remember, he came up as an infielder. Rios thought he had extra bases and an RBI.
Vernon Wells then. Vernon's second home run this year landed in the seats deep in left field in the 3rd inning. After he gave up a couple of runs in the 1st inning, Scott Richmond has settled in nicely. But Scott Baker, his counterpart, is gone from this game after 4 innings of work and 4 home runs given up. Here's Philip Humber. The 1-0 pitch up high for 2 balls and no strikes. Yes, the home run balls hurt him, but so too did those 2 walks.
In his last start on his rehab down in Florida.
It's 3-0 now on Wells. And if Humber loses Wells here, he'll have to face the left-handed hitting Adam Lind. So here it comes, and it's slapped on the ground for Creedy. He goes to second, and that's the inning. The Blue Jays get a hit and no more. After 4.5, it's Toronto 6, the Twins 2. Presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership.
I just ran into Paul Molitor.
You did.
Molly.
Hall of Famer. Where did you run into him?
Right there. Right back
in the
there.
hallway.
Yeah. He looks great.
How is he?
Says he's going to come up for a flashback Friday and the reunion
in August. Nick Punto at the plate facing Scott Richmond. Of course, the reunion that you speak of is to celebrate the World Series championships of '92 and '93 on the weekend of August 7, 8, and 9. The Jays take on the Orioles in a weekend series, and boy, a lot of players have committed from those teams to come up and party with the people.
Do you blame them?
You included. No, I don't blame them one bit.
Beach ball time.
All right,
field.
Look, that beach ball is back. You said bring out the rake. I said get a lighter. Nobody was listening.
That was really big in Fenway Park years ago when they had the center field bleachers open. That ball, I'm telling you, every inning somebody would knock a ball down on the field. Did they give those things away here tonight?
I think it's $1 hot dog night, to be honest with you. Two and one, and a foul back by the shortstop Punto. He'll lead off for the Twins, be followed by the speedster Carlos Gomez, and then we'll get back to the top of the Twins order with Denard Span. The home team trails by 4 here in the 5th inning. Richmond hit a bit of a bump in the road in the first inning, allowing 2 runs on 2 hits, but in the last 3 innings he's struck out a pair and given up only 1 base hit. The kick and the pitch, and it's sent foul by Punto.
He has been able to get that leadoff batter, which is so important. Got him in the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th inning. Looked like he, last inning, was really finding his groove. Punto is making life tough on him, though. He's fouling off some good pitches.
Richmond doesn't look like a man affected by a 2-week layoff in the middle of spring training. He, after being summoned by Team Canada and not seeing action, didn't pitch in a competitive game for 2 weeks. But it was early enough in camp. Perhaps it hasn't had that much of an effect as he walks Punto to lead off the Twins half of the 5th inning. Well, Pat, you spoke of Flashback Fridays. The first one for this season is coming up 2 nights from now as the Blue Jays present Flashback Friday in conjunction with the Fan 590 and the Toronto Star. Come to the park and meet Kelly Gruber. If you'd like to see a complete list of 09 alumni, visit bluejays.com/flashback as the ball hangs up for a charging Wells, and Punto scampers back to first.
Yeah, that was a good pitch right there, and I'll tell you why. Because he knows that Gomez is a free swinger. He just walked the leadoff batter. So you got to think that Gomez is sitting on a fastball. He throws him a slider. You can see how it messes up his timing, and he hits it right off the end of the bat for an easy out. He throws him a fastball, and Gomez was ready for it. That could change the whole complexion of this inning. Good job there to think your way through that at bat.
What kind of pitch would you like to see Richmond throwing more often to left-handed hitters?
Well, in this situation with a runner on base, you know, you get ahead with a curveball or you get ahead with a fastball. It'd be great to see something where he can get it off the hitting plane, just sink a little fastball here, get it on the ground. You don't have to throw it as hard as your normal fastball, but just give the hitter something else to think about.
So a 2-seamer that runs away from a lefty?
Right, right. Now, here 0-2, I wouldn't do it because, you know, you want to throw the pitch that you have the most control with here because you don't want to make a mistake. But throw something to a lefty that he hasn't seen, take a little something off of it maybe he rolls it on the ground and you can get out of here with a double play. his breaking ball is working great against right-handed batters. Needs something to complement these lefties, complement that fastball that he has.
The 1-2, and Barrett has had to play a couple of bounces in front of him this night.
Here now 2-2, runner on first base. He's throwing him a fastball for ball 1, a curveball for ball 2. Let's find that third pitch right here. Turn a fastball over, get it on the outside part of the plate. This guy's tough to double up, but throw off his timing.
And he waves at that pitch out of the strike zone.
Something a little off speed on the outside part of the plate, and you can see how his timing was all messed up. That's Denard Span. Watch this swing. Excuse me. As he swings right through it, that's an excellent sequence right there. Great pitch to finish him off.
And certainly an important strikeout, knowing that Justin Morneau's on deck. Alexi Casilla, as the snap throw to first is a little high from Barrett. Punto gets back, so here's Casilla with 2 gone.
That's where you really need some help from your first base coach. As a runner, you kind of get your secondary lead, and a left-handed batter just kind of blocks your vision of the catcher. All of a sudden, you see the ball coming down, and that's where your first base coach has really got to help you out and tell you to get back.
Two and nothing on Alexi Casilla, the second baseman. He's 1 for 1, a single, a run scored. He's walked as well.
He's turned into a pretty decent offensive player for Minnesota for a second baseman. Last year, Casilla only had 385 at bats for Minnesota, but he knocked in 50 runs. 50 RBIs, the most for a Twin second baseman since Todd Walker had 62 11 years ago. Did it in just 385 at bats.
Pitches golf to left field, dropping quickly. Snyder was playing in, and he makes the catch. So 5 innings now in the books. It's still 6-2 for the Jays. Everything, Pat, it seems, has changed around the major leagues as Adam Lind leads off the sixth for the Jays against Philip Humber. I was looking at the standings today. San Diego entering today was in first place in the National League West. The Seattle Mariners, the worst team in baseball last year, have won 5 straight games. Toronto and Baltimore are battling at the top of the East as Lynn gets strike one. The Florida Marlins are cruising, and in this division to this point Kansas City's been the best team early on, so everything's not like it seems.
Well, not what everybody thought.
Yes.
With all the
ground ball up the middle, and Adam Lind has a base hit to lead off the inning.
Yeah, all the experts who they had winning the divisions. Now I know it's early.
It's very early.
Good to see,
yeah.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. If you missed the news today, the Boston Red Sox put Daisuke Matsuzaka on the 15-day disabled list with a right shoulder strain. Looks like Justin Masterson might take the spot vacated by Matsuzaka in the rotation. And we'll probably read a thing or two about how the World Baseball Classic put a little too much strain on the arm early on for Matsuzaka.
What did they say? Shoulder fatigue?
Yep. He got knocked out of a game in Oakland early last night. Scott Rowland fouls it back. 0-2 here on Rowland, who is one of the 4 Blue Jays to homer in the ball game.
Be ready now. 0-2.
That's the count you
Be
want.
Ready.
It's the count you want. That has been proven in this ball game.
Scott Baker, Minnesota starter, just couldn't get the ball down. Just could not finish his pitches. Everything was up, and the Jays pounded him for 4 home runs.
All one. One and two. Down the right field line and foul.
You're looking for some home runs there?
Trying to remember the date of that 10 home run game.
1987.
I think you're right. Arnie Witt hit 3, I believe. Mullenix had 2. I think Rob Ducey had 1. For those thinking that maybe the Blue Jays are close to a record here, they're not. 10 home runs in 1 game. And I think it was against Baltimore.
In the old ballpark. It's a different bunch of Blue Jays hitting this year, standing at that plate. They are getting their pitches and they're hitting them hard.
Curveball called, strike 3, and there goes Rowland.
Scott kind of hesitated, hoping that the home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg would miss that one. Watch this one. He had him set up for the curveball. He gave up on it. He kind of backs away and stops, and yeah, I think it was a strike. Good curveball there from Phil Humber.
Here's Overbay now. 0-2. I spoke with Lyle before the game today. Did he ever make some kid's day yesterday? He broke a bat in batting practice, just chipped it actually, and he was looking around for a young kid to give it to as he readies for the 1-0 pitch from Humber and slashes it foul. And he found a young kid down in the front row wearing a Blue Jay jersey and a Blue Jay ball cap, and he said, "There's my man." Went over and gave him the bat, and the youngster turned around. I saw his face, and you would think it was Christmas morning.
He took that thing and started running with it, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Here's the 1-1. First 10,000 people at the ballpark on Sunday when Ricky Romero takes on the Oakland A's. Will receive a Lyle Overbay bobblehead doll. So call for tickets 416-341-1234 if you've turned away from the TV. Most Rogers Video and Rogers Plus locations have them as well. Two and one, and he gets jammed, rolling the ball over to Casilla, and it just kicks away. And did that hit Lind?
Yes, it did.
Hit him in the foot. So Lind is out.
So he is out, and it was not hit that hard, so I don't think they were going to turn two. But the ball, it looked like it hit him in the heel. Watch this thing ricochet. Overbay is jammed. It's hit softly. Here comes Lind. Yep, hit him right in the heel.
You don't see that very often.
So if you are scoring at home, that's a base hit for Overbay. Yep. And the runner is out. Maybe that'll get Overbay going. A hit like that.
Maybe. Ground ball up the middle, and that sneaks through a diving Casilla. All the way around to third. Charging is Overbay, and it hits him in the head. And now the ball gets away, and Overbay is thinking about going to third. The throw back, and he gets back in time. What a wild series of events.
Boy, you are not kidding. Even before the ball left the infield, talk about almost hitting someone. Watch the second base umpire, Tim Timmons, get out of the way. Overbay is going to challenge the center fielder Gomez, who has a great arm, and hit him right on that helmet. He thinks he has a shot. Makes the wide turn. Let's watch it again. Overbay, ISO on him. He's going to come around. The play's right in front of him. He's going to challenge Gomez, and watch how it hits him right on the head. He signaled to Nick Labor, third base coach. He said he's fine.
This presents an RBI opportunity for Travis Snyder, and he could really do some damage against the Twins here. Already ahead by 4 runs, and Snyder with power to all fields.
I think he's locked in, that they're getting him out with high fastball. Did you see him take the first one? He just kind of tucked his shoulder down and knew that that's where they were going to go, right back to it. Same way with the second pitch.
Here's the 2-0, and it's well high. Here's a quote from Cito.
You know, he also said, let's take a look at it, it's kind of who do you pinch hit for? He thinks his hitters can all hit. Snyder could have come in and hit a home run, but you never know.
So he was showing loyalty to a veteran.
You know, he also said that if Batista hit 2 home runs last night, he wasn't going to play tonight, just like Snyder did the night before.
Sure.
So what he was saying also is down the road, those things even out. It might not have worked last night, but down the road somewhere he's going to win a game by not making the changes.
It was good of Cito to provide an answer, because I know there were a lot of Blue Jay fans watching that game last night wondering why not put Travis Snyder in. I'd say that's a pretty legitimate reason.
Sure. You know, and managing is not, you know, okay, there's a right-hander on the mound, I need to put a left-hander in there. A lot of times it's a feel or a matchup. Is my guy, do I like the right-hander facing the right-handed pitcher better? And, you know, how's the guy swinging the bat? How does he feel today? A lot of times managers will go on instincts and gut feelings in situations like that.
Bases loaded for Marco Scutaro, and he looks at strike 1, 2 gone in the 6th inning. Overbay, Barrett, and Snyder aboard. Humber with the 0-1 pitch. Here it comes. Now 1 ball and 1 strike as the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey is up in the bullpen. Marco has 1 grand slam in his career, and it came exactly 2 years ago today in Oakland against Mariano Rivera. So if he can hit a grand slam against Mariano Rivera, Phil Humber's a piece of cake.
He's not thinking grand slam right now. He is thinking, let me have a good at bat. Let me put a good swing on one of these pitches if he throws it over the plate, and just hit it hard somewhere. Eventually they're going to fall. No place to put them, so he knows Humber's got to come to him right here.
Ground ball up the middle. That'll get the job done. Overbay's in for 1. Barrett hustles around third. He scores. The ball gets away from the pitcher, and Marco Scutaro counts 2 on his single to center field.
See, he didn't try to do too much with that ball. You know? He said, I'm going to take it right back through. Look how short he is. Right back through the box. A couple of RBIs. 2-run score easily. Now Gomez thinks he has a shot. Watch Travis Snyder at the top of your screen. He sees that that's going to be a high throw, so he takes the extra base on the throw that is mishandled by Morneau, the first baseman.
Time for a Minnesota pitching change. It's brought to you by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain. Jays, who extend their lead now to 8-2. Here's the new pitcher for the Twins, and we saw him on Monday night. R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, comes in to face a red-hot Aaron Hill, who is 3 for 3 with 2 singles and a home run.
New pitcher into the game, a new glove into the game, the catcher. And Travis Snyder has been told, hey, be ready for anything that gets by this catcher.
Wave and a miss. The ball does get away. Marco Scutaro stands at first base after his 2-out base hit up the middle cashes 2. And Snyder is over at third.
Yeah, just anticipate the catcher is going to miss one of these knuckleballs. Dickey will throw a hard one with 2 strikes.
Here comes that 0-2 pitch, and it's on the ground, sneaking by a diving first baseman. Snyder's in, and Hill has an RBI, his 4th of the night. Excuse me, 3rd of the night.
In his 4th hit.
And his 4th hit.
And another 0-2 hit by the Blue Jays. Plate coverage for Aaron Hill. He shortens it up. Watch this thing dancing up there. Just kind of chops at it. Hole on the right side of the field. Hits it by a diving Morneau.
Alex Rios wants in on this now. He lets it go by. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He was sitting all over a knuckleball, and Dickey crossed him up, threw in about 83 miles an hour. Froze him.
Waves at that one. 1-2. Here's the pitch on the way outside.
Love the damage that the Blue Jays have done here with 2 out. Remember, there was a runner on first base and 2 out after that ball hit Adam Lynn off the bat of Lyle Overbay. A single, a walk, and 2 more singles have put 3 on the board so far to bust this one open.
There's a grounder for Casilla, and he underhands to second base to end the inning. But 3 have scored, and the Blue Jays have a comfortable lead on the Twins.
Sportsnet, brought to you by Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
inside the Metrodome tonight on Rogers Sportsnet. We're grateful that you've joined us. The Blue Jays are thrashing the Twins 9-2 after 5.5 innings. Minnesota in the 6th inning will bring up Justin Morneau, Jason Kubel, and Michael Kadire. Morneau sends it foul up and over this broadcast booth and out of play. Tomorrow, Tom Volk from the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame will be in town to present Morneau with the Tip O'Neill Award, emblematic of the best ball player in Canada. So Morneau now has won the award twice. He won it back in '06. He's got a ways to go to catch 9-time winner Larry Walker. That award named after James Tip O'Neill, who was Canada's first big league star way back in the late 1800s. He hit over 400 in 1887. That was back when walks counted as hits. Was hammered, yanked to the right side. Richmond covers, and Morneau's gone.
I'll bet that he does.
I think he's got a very good chance. As Jason Kubel steps in. In fact, the Twins have a young player in their system, another Canadian, a 7th-round pick back in '06 from Vaughan, Ontario, named Jonathan Waltonbury. 6'3", over 200 pounds. Had a good year in rookie ball last year, so you might see another Canadian come up with this club, as Kubel, like Morneau, is out 3-1.
Good to see some sluggers coming up.
Yeah, and I said to Justin, I said, when you get to camp, do the young Canadians in Twins camp gravitate to you? And he says, well, they do, but that's because I always try and send over, you know, extra
goodies,
gloves and spikes, and all the equipment that I don't need. I make sure I pack it up and send it their way.
You got to do that when you're the big star, you know. I'm sure Joe Mauer does the same thing.
Yeah. Wow, great action on that pitch from Richmond, and he's able to get ahead of Kadire. Richmond working with the benefit of 9 runs. He gives up this bomb toward right field, and Rios makes a running grab. What a lovely catch that was.
In football, they call it closing speed. This is closing speed by Rios. Just runs it down and takes away extra bases. And you know his pitcher, Scott Richmond, has got to love that.
beginning Friday. They'll play the A's for 3, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Texas Rangers. Base hit Vernon Wells to left field. You can see Vernon do it in a white uniform by picking up your tickets for the upcoming homestand of 6 games, 3 against the A's and 3 against the Texas Rangers. This is Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Just a scoring note for those of you who do score at home. In that 6th inning, when Adam Lind was out after the ground ball by Overbay hit him, you mark it as a 4 unassisted, and the retirement of Lind. Overbay, as Pat mentioned, picks up the base hit.
Did you talk about the unearned run in the 1st inning?
I didn't mention that, and I apologize to the viewers. They have made a scoring change from the 1st inning, and here comes that pitch from Dickey, a swing and a miss from Lind. And we like to do this because we have received a lot of notice from people who do score the games at home. So in the 1st inning, bottom of the 1st, when Justin Morneau came home to score, originally it was credited, or it was called a wild pitch, but they've since changed that to a pass ball, and that means that only one of the 2 runs in that 1st inning for Richmond are earned. Here's Lind with Wells at first. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And he is punched out by Jeff Kellogg.
See, that knuckleball is a little bit harder than the ones that Dickey threw in there earlier in this count. Look at this one. So hard that the catcher, Mike Redmond, can't hold on to that one, moving all over the place. Those are the kind where you just kind of like knock down and just pick it up. Dancing all over the place.
Back comes Scott Rowland, 1 for 3 with a home run, and he belts the ball to right field. Perfectly placed, though, is Michael Kadire for the 2nd out. I don't think Adam Lind figured in the first week and change of the big league season he'd see 2 different knuckleballers, neither one of them named Tim Wakefield.
2 different types of knuckleballs also.
Yes.
Eddie Bonine will use it for the Detroit Tigers. His is a tumbler where it kind of comes in and tumbles, and it's not very hard. Dickey's is a little bit harder. So it moves, if you're the hitter, left to right.
Here's Overbay, who was 1 for 3, in part thanks to the left heel of Adam Lind. On Jackie Robinson Day in the major leagues, everybody, as you've now seen, wearing number 42. Even Dwayne Murphy, the first base coach, an absolutely splendid outfielder with the A's back in his day.
Do we know what they are going to do with these jerseys after tonight?
I don't.
What a great
they could auction them off.
Auction off and donate the money.
Yeah.
We'll have to find that out. We'll ask Jeff Ross sometime.
But if you bid on, say, a Vernon Wells jersey, how do you know it's Vernon's? Maybe it's Bill
He signs
Murphy's.
it. He signs it. That's it. That's how you know.
Two-strike pitch, sneaks away from the catcher Redmond. Up to second goes Wells. A wild pitch, and you tend to see those from time to time with knuckleballers.
Pass balls also.
2-2 on Overbay. 9-2 for Toronto. Slash to left field, a base hit. Wells turns for home. Double digits now. It's 10-2 for the Jays.
You know, another thing that the Jays offensively have done, besides hitting more home runs, cashing in runners from second base with 2 outs. With more regularity this year, that's a tumbling knuckleball, just kind of like lofted over the head of Joe Creedy, the third baseman, down the left field line. So the wild pitch pays off.
And maybe you were right. Maybe that cheap hit that Overbay picked up in the 6th inning is going to get him locked in again. Michael Barrett has had a good game. He's 2 for 3. He struck out in the 2nd, hit a home run to the opposite field in the 4th inning, and singled and scored in the 6th.
Boy, Mike Redmond battling on every pitch, isn't he? You got to really keep your eye on the ball when a knuckleball pitcher is out on that mound. You got a little help with that big glove back there.
Oh my goodness, the ball's gone, the bat's gone. Barrett heads for first, but he's thrown out to complete the strikeout. Wild stuff going on here. A 10-2 lead for the Jays. Mitsubishi Motors. Here's the game review.
To lead, some defensive changes for Cito Gaston. John McDonald's with his first shot defensively this year takes over at shortstop, and Jose Bautista, who we saw in last night's game in left field, takes over for Scott Rowland at third.
Here's Joe Creedy hitting 182, the hero of last night's game in the 11th inning. Scott Richmond continues to twirl a beauty here against the Twins. He throws it up and high on Creedy for a 3-ball no strike count. Richmond's longest major league outing to this point, 6 innings in the victory last year in Baltimore. So one more out for him and he'll have a new career high.
Yeah, get one more out.
In the bullpen, Sean Kemp is starting to throw. And here's Mike Redmond lacing it to right field. He's got a base hit, and Creedy got a late start. The throw is high, though.
The runner, Joe Creedy, had to hold up because he wasn't sure if Aaron Hill was going to catch that ball. Alex Rios, if he makes a throw on line, he would have a force at second base. Watch this. He backhands it and he uncorks it quickly, but it's too tall for Johnny Mack. He had a shot at it. Creedy, the runner, line drive, he's got a hole because he's not sure if Hill's going to come up with it, and then he's got to sprint. It's a hopeless feeling, isn't it, when you know you got to go about 80 feet and the right fielder has the ball.
Quickly 2 on here in the 7th then for the Twins. Creedy at second, Redmond at first, and Nick Punto, the shortstop, at the plate facing Richmond. Strike 1 on Punto, who tonight is 0 for 1. He's grounded out to short and walked. Richmond standing at the third base side of the rubber. Sets for the 0-1 pitch and throws it wide of the plate. 1-1. Here's pitch number 103, and it's a little high.
You start to get a little tired. You've gone in, you've sat down, you've come back out. You were sitting over there a long time while the Blue Jays were hitting. Right now, you don't want to guide the ball in there. You want to give everything you have and just pound that zone and finish this off. If you can't, you got a deep enough bullpen. Good pitch there. A lot of times in this situation here, young players, young pitchers want to hurry. They want to hurry up and get in there, get their team back in there, so they start rushing things. That's where you take a deep breath, take your time, still concentrate pitch from pitch.
Two and two, and it's now a full count to the batter Punto. Richmond and Ricky Romero were the last two to make the rotation. I wonder if Scott was watching Ricky's impressive performance last night and thought, I've got to step up my game tonight.
Yeah, that happens. Guys start challenging each other as you watch pitchers make good plays.
Fly it into center field, and Wells holds off Snyder.
New career high.
That is officially a new career high for Mr. Richmond, and that's going to be the end of it for him too. Cito Gaston has already called in Sean Camp, so a very good performance tonight from Richmond. In his second start of the year, he'll depart after 6 1/3 and give up the rest of it to the bullpen. The pitching change is brought to you by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain. Sean Camp with the first pitch to Carlos Gomez, who just rips it to the left side and foul. I'd like to see that again. That almost looked like it crossed third base.
He had a better look at it than we
Yes,
did,
he did.
right? That's
Yep.
third base umpire Rob Drake. First ball, fastball, swinging Carlos Gomez. First pitch from Camp. It's a fastball. He rips it down the line right away. Drake calls foul ball.
So here Camp deals and gets him to swing at a pitch well outside the strike zone.
That has been the Achilles heel for this young hitter right here. A little bit too aggressive. He's tried to be a little bit more patient. But you can get him by throwing breaking balls out of the strike zone.
He doesn't fish for that one, so it's 1-2. Here's the situation in the 7th inning. 2 men on for the Twins, Creedy and Redmond, 1 away. Scott Richmond with an impressive 6 1/3 for the Jays tonight. Here's the bullpen to help him out, namely Sean Camp. So with the effort tonight, Richmond's ERA drops from 6.75 to 3.48. That is assuming, of course,
Right.
that Camp can get out of this inning without allowing any runs to score. So we'll see.
Three times he has tried to throw that slider there after jumping ahead 0-2. Got to throw a strike here.
A chopper to short, backs up McDonald. He fires to second and they get one. You're not going to get that in time to get Gomez. He's too quick.
You know, it's better just to take your time and make sure you get an out. John McDonald is so quick with his hands. Watch how he catches this ball and gets it to Hill quickly. And Hill has trouble getting it out of his glove, but that's okay. You're counting outs right now.
Camp waits as Barrett sends signs to the infield. And now he's ready to go against Denard Span. 2 away and 1 ball and no strike. Off the plate, 2 balls and no strikes. Camp last pitched Sunday in the loss in Cleveland. Going 2/3 of an inning, giving up a couple of hits, including that 2-run double by rookie Trevor Crowe. Here's a slapper to second. And the deed is done. Camp does not allow the inherited runners to come in. So after 7, it's 10-2 for the Jays.
next 3 innings. Exclamation point with the home runs by the Jays, and now it's become a laugher.
There are defensive changes in the works for the Minnesota Twins, as R.A. Dickey faces the number 9 hitter Travis Snyder, who is 0 for 2. Joe Creedy at third is now out of the ball game. Brendan Harris takes his spot. And Brian Busher has replaced Justin Morneau at first. There's a floater, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Remember last year when the Jays would get to Boston and Cito Gaston would routinely keep both Adam Lind and Travis Snyder out of the lineup when Tim Wakefield was there. That doesn't mess up their swings.
Knuckleball pitchers have that ability, and we've seen some contrast in styles here tonight, haven't we? From Minnesota. Scott Baker, good curveball, good running fastball. Then Humber threw pretty hard. And now we've got the floater ball coming up there.
Here's John McDonald. And he goes around for strike 1. Ground ball, and it's off the hand of Dickey, and McDonald's going to pick up an infield single. And that is his first hit of the year.
And you know he was smelling base hit, because when it left the bat, it looked like it was heading up the middle for a clean single. Dickey, the pitcher, stuck his hand out, though, and knocked it down. Ball hit hard. Knocked it down, and now out into no man's land at Rome. So base hit, and now a chance for Aaron Hill.
And Aaron
to do something.
Has 4 hits in the game. He's done that now 8 times in his career. He's never had a 5-hit game. So here's an opportunity. 2 men on for Aaron, and he watches that pitch sail by. 2 balls and no strikes. Dickey setting at the belt. Here's the 2-1, and a high chopper off the plate, fielded by the pitcher. He goes to first, and Aaron is 4 for 5. 8 4-hit games. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And he's only been in the big league since 05.
He was the first batter that Dickey faced when he came into the ball game in the 6th inning, and he promptly hit a single in the right field. Hit that off of a knuckleball that time. It looked like he was sitting all over a knuckleball, and Dickey crossed him up, threw him a fastball, got him on a check swing.
In the process, he moves both runners into scoring position for Alex Rios, who is 0 for 4. Rios' best chance at a hit in this game came in the 5th when he lined it to right field, but Michael Kadire made a tremendous catch. There's Bill Murphy, who hasn't pitched in the big league since 2007. Perhaps we'll see him make his Blue Jay debut. Murphy was just called up yesterday after Jesse Litch was put on the disabled list. One and 2 to Rios. Dickey with a pitch, swing and a miss, and now Alex is 0 for 5.
When you get to 2 strikes, especially off of a knuckleball pitcher, you really have to shorten things up. Alex with a little bit too long of a swing right there. You see his head kind of pull out a little bit. Opportunity to pick up some RBIs wasted there.
Vernon Wells now, and he's had a very good night. 2 for 4. He flied out to center in the second inning. Hit a solo home run to left in the third. Reached on a fielder's choice in the fifth and singled and scored in the seventh. Ooh, that one hurt Redmond.
That's where the home plate umpire goes out there to take the ball. Watch this ball. Looked like it got him right off of his left knee.
Jeff Kellogg very smartly takes the time to pull out the broom and wipe off home plate. And give Redmond a little time to walk it off.
Vernon Wells is almost in front of the dugout of the Minnesota Twins to give the catcher a chance to get the sting off of his knee.
So tonight everybody's wearing 42. Did you know that Jackie Robinson was not the last Dodger to wear 42?
I did not.
They gave 42. The Los Angeles Dodgers gave it to a young right-hander from USC in 1969 by the name of Ray Lamb. And he wore it for a time. He was so intimidated by wearing the number, he gave it back to the Dodgers. Didn't like wearing it as the pitch is outside on Wells. He later pitched a few years with the Cleveland Indians, but I could see how that might be a little uncomfortable. Vernon on 1 and 2. The pitch from Dickey, and it's bombed to left field. Well hit. Span is back right up against the wall, and he catches it on the track.
Sportsnet, brought to you by Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Here in Minneapolis, Scott Richmond.
In line for his first win.
He'll need some help from the new reliever. Bill Murphy makes his Blue Jay debut. You see the numbers in AAA Syracuse last year. He started the year with Syracuse in their rotation. And then when the Blue Jays decided to move Ricky Romero and Brett Cecil up and into the AAA ranks, they asked Murphy to go to the bullpen, and He agreed and really had a very good second half out of the pen. His numbers 8 and 10 with a 5.32 ERA in 32 games, 24 of them starts. And he's a strikeout specialist.
Yeah, the number that pops out when I see his numbers from last year are the strikeouts, 152 of them. Tony LaCava said that led the International League last year. He did it in 142 innings. Fastball, curveball, changeup. His fastball is the key.
There's the breaking ball rolled to Hill. So Casillas gone for the first out. Murphy had 10 games with Arizona in 2007, going a total of 6 1/3 innings. His first big league strikeout was Luis Gonzalez at Dodger Stadium that season. And he was genuinely shocked to hear his name called when the phone call was made to the AAA club in Las Vegas. They were in Salt Lake City and on their way to the airport, and Murphy figured if a call was made to one of the relievers, it wasn't going to be him. So he's absolutely thrilled to be here, as you can well imagine. He faces Brian Busher, who assumes first base for Justin Morneau. Ron Gardenhire's gone to the bench to give some of his players some at bats. Two balls and a strike, and now 2-2 on Busher.
When you are a reliever and you're coming into a ball game, throwing strikes are key. You know what else is key? Something that the little scouting report I got on Bill Murphy is he misses bats. You can strike guys out. What a plus that is coming out of the pen.
Busher's gone 6-3, and there are 2 away in the 8th inning. Murphy is 27 years of age. He'll turn 28 on the 9th of May. Comes from the Anaheim area and was a 3rd-round pick back in '02 by the Oakland Athletics.
Does have a little time in the big leagues. Just 30 days, and he's going to have a clean 8th inning here.
A nice debut for Bill Murphy as he gets 3 ground ball outs. 8 innings complete, 10-2 Jays. Statistical information provided by StatSync. This is Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler at Rogers. I said Rogers Center. We're indoors, Pat. I apologize. This is the Metrodome. Jose Morales is the catcher and takes over from Mike Redmond. Luis Ayala is the pitcher. You see what happens when we're on the road so long?
Yeah. Seems like we've been on the road for a while, doesn't it? It's a dome. You were close.
Yeah. Did you like playing here?
No.
Not at all?
I did not like playing here.
Why?
Whenever you stood in the batter's box, the background it wasn't easy to get used to it. I could not pick up the ball. Now, the Twins had good teams back then, so chances are I wasn't getting a whole lot of hits. But it just seemed so weird, like you were hitting inside a ball or something like that. It didn't feel like you were in a ball club, ball stadium. And I asked Marco the same thing today. I said, how do you feel when you're up there? He said, it just feels weird here. Felt like there were about 12 fielders out there whenever I came to plate.
And they don't really have a true batter's eye background in center field, where most teams would put some kind of a black background. Even at Yankee Stadium, they cover seats.
I think that was the problem. I mean, you have the different dimensions out there. Those seats kind of folded down, and one part is going this way, one part is going that way. I just found it really tough to pick the ball up here. Everything is echoing. You know, the sounds are, you just don't feel like you're in a ballpark.
Ayala with the pitch, and it's low to Lind. 3-2 on the DH. Adam is 1 for 3 this evening. He's scored once. Here's a good sign. The Blue Jays, as we know, have lost 3 games this year, but they really were only out of one of them. And that was Jesse Litch's first start of the season. A week ago tonight, Detroit won it 5-1. They were in it right till the end last night, lost in the bottom of the 11th. And there's ball 4 for Lind. And we're in that game against the Cleveland Indians on Sunday right until the bitter end, when Travis Hafner hit a 2-run home run off Brandon League in the 8th inning. So yes, they've lost 3 games, but they could have gone either way. It seems the victories, though, they tend to pile up the runs in some of these victories. And that ball hit to right field. Bautista is looking for extra bases as he turns for second. Lind all the way to third. And now trouble for Kadire. Keep running. Well, Lind is stopped at third. Kadire couldn't find the baseball. He threw up his hands, but that doesn't mean the players can't stop running. Remember that in Milwaukee last year, when Alex Rios saw a ball trapped underneath the wall and thought, well, I could just throw my hands up here.
Inside out swing. This is an easy triple. Watch where the ball goes after it hits the wall. It gets up underneath those signs that are attached to the wall. In a 10-2 game, Nick Leyva holds the runner Lind at third base, but that would have been an easy triple.
On a very similar play in Milwaukee last year, Prince Fielder had an inside the park home run after Alex basically stopped going after the baseball. Flied into center field. Gomez settles under it, and Lind holds at third. Here's Barrett. Earlier tonight, Michael had his first home run in a Blue Jay uniform. A solo shot against Scott Baker. One of 4 homers the Blue Jays have hit this evening. He's got 2 in scoring position here, and he grounds to third but foul.
You were talking about the Jays have 3 losses, but only 1 time have they been really not in any game. I think that's one of the things that they've needed to improve on. 1-run games. Last year, Jays were 24-32, so they were 8 games under 500 in 1-run games. We'll keep count of that this year, and I think it's the offense that will help them win those 1-run games. You know, last year they would get guys on and they just couldn't get them in, and the pitching was so good and it was just so frustrating. This year, though, swinging the bats the way they are, I think they're going to be over 500 in close games.
And as we know, 9 games in, they've had 4 come from behind victories.
Good offense.
If they put this one together and end up defeating the Twins here, this would qualify because they trailed 2-0 after an inning. I know it's early on, but it's still a come from behind, isn't it?
Well, that's like getting the first RBI of a game and getting the game-winning hit because your team never fell behind.
That's right. Another short pop-up is caught by Punto, so the base runners aren't going anywhere as Barrett is retired. Well, Travis Snyder then with 2 on and 2 out. Travis is still looking for his first hit tonight. He struck out twice. He's been walked twice. Facing Ayala. And if you joined us on Monday night and saw this battle in the 8th inning, the end result was Travis Snyder parking the baseball in one of the concession stands in the upper level in right field.
Got out in a hurry, too.
Yes, it did. .286 early on with 3 home runs and 5 RBIs. He started the day leading almost every rookie offensive category in the American League. One ball and 1 strike, and the pitch off the plate.
Watch how fast
this again.
This ball gets out of here. Ayala grooves one right down the middle, and that is a long way in that upper dank in right field.
And he made an interesting comment at the end of the game. He said he sort of caught himself out of the box admiring the shot,
right,
because it was one worth admiring, and what he didn't want to do was show anybody up.
Right.
And he wants to get around the bases quickly when he hits a home run.
He mentioned Scott Rowland, the way he just puts his head down and runs around the bases.
This is slapped to left field, a line shot, and Span watches it roll right under his glove, and it's up and over the wall for a double, a ground rule double. So 2 ribbies here for Travis Snyder. So make it a 12-2 game and give Travis his
6th and 7th RBI on this sinking fastball away. Remember the home run we just showed you? That was on the inner half, and he pulls it into the upper deck in right field. This time the pitch is away. He goes right with it and just slaps it with authority down the left field line.
Little broken back flare. Casilla comes over to make the grab and take care of McDonald. Another 2 for the Jays. They lead by 10 into the last of the 9th. And Martine Guyard will host Sportsnet Connected. I can tell you what Justin Morneau's going to do tonight. He's going to head home and find the Canucks and Blues in their first game of the playoffs. Craig McTavish out as head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Shirley McCormick has an opinion on that one. So those are some of the stories they'll be following, as well as highlights from around the major leagues and some reaction from the locker room to this affair in Minneapolis, one that is in the favor of the Blue Jays, lock, stock, and barrel to this point, 12-2. So Brandon Lee relieves Bill Murphy, and Lee gets a strike on the number 5 hitter Michael Kadire.
Brandon had an interesting win in Cleveland.
Yes, he did.
Over the weekend. He really struggled with his command when he was in Cleveland, so I'm anxious to watch him work here. In Cleveland, it was cold. A lot of the pitchers were complaining about they couldn't get a good grip on the ball because they weren't rubbed up very well. It was cold, it was damp. So we saw a lot of base on balls in that series. Now indoors, I want to see Brandon Lee if he's back down in the strike zone with regularity.
We learned something interesting about Brandon yesterday, and I did not know this, but when he's long tossing or playing catch before the game in the outfield, he comes from right over the top. Right. He doesn't have that, I guess you'd call it three-quarter arm slot that he throws his pitches with. And, you know, pitching is a lot about muscle memory. So Brad Arnsberg was saying he would like to see him warm up and throw long toss from a three-quarter arm slot as opposed to over the top.
You know, not necessarily long toss from three-quarter. He said watch him when he throws, just when the team comes out for batting practice, that when he's tossing to get loose, he throws from up top, that he would like to see him throw from the three-quarter. One of the reasons why he thinks that he hasn't been able to throw some consistent strikes as Brendan Harris grounds to Bautista for the second out is the amount of work. Also, let's take a look at the release point here from three-quarters, and that gets that good sinking action on that hard fastball. But he'll have a throwing program in the outfield like you talk about the long toss. But as a reliever, it's tough to get any work on the mound because you might be in that night's game. So throwing on solid ground or flat ground as opposed to throwing on a mound is so different. I think the more reps that Brandon gets and the more times out there, you'll see what we saw last year, which was good hard fastballs and a lot of success. One of the things that Brad Arnsberg wants to do with Brandon also is when he comes to a set position, he'd like to see him lower his hands, see where they're up around his face. He says he thinks that works a lot better with a guy who throws three-quarter motion. He's worked with Roy Halladay doing the same thing. Doc used to come in a set position on higher hands. He's been lowering it because it works better from that three-quarters.
Doc is next in line. He'll start tomorrow for the Blue Jays. 0-2, and the pitch is high. Toronto now a strike away from securing their 7th win of this early season and 4th win on this road trip. One batter to get, and that batter right now, Jose Morales, the backup catcher.
They'll go for the series clincher tomorrow, and they'll have their ace. So this was a big game after what we saw last night.
And Scott Richmond came through 6 1/3. He gave up 2 runs. One of them earned on 4 hits. League trying to finish off the Twins, and that does it. The Blue Jays defeat the Twins handily, 12-2. And are guaranteed of at least a split of this series in Minnesota. So what an effort for Pat Tabler and our statistician Scott Carson. I'm Jamie Campbell saying good night from Minneapolis. Time now for Sportsnet Connected.